Since I started playing Fallout 3 for my Unexplored series, there's been one faction that has really grinded my gears, and that is the Talon Company. I literally did nothing to them, but because I have quote-unquote good karma, they decided that they need to kill me. So, me and Dogmeat thought it was about time that we took the fight to them. Enough of being ambushed as I exit locations, being killed by these sons of a bitches. It's time to take the fight to them at Fort Bannister. The Army of Otters here, and welcome to the Unexplored Capital Wasteland. Today we're going to be taking a look at Fort Bannister, which is the main base of operations for the Talon Company. Now, if you don't know, the Talon Company is a mercenary faction in Fallout 3, and there's not really a whole lot known about them, but they will attack you if you have good karma. So if you're someone like me who is just kind of playing the game as a somewhat decent person, these guys are kind of a dick. So I want to take them out. And here on the minimap you can see the location of Fort Bannister, just north of Evergreen Mills, directly west of Vault 106 and Vault 101. Now as you approach Fort Bannister, there is a large wall facing the south, but the entrance is also on the south. However, you cannot penetrate this wall, but if you climb up on the mountain to the west of the fort, you can easily get around the wall. And from here, me and Dogmeat began our sneak attack on the Talon Company. Now, you do need to be a bit careful when fighting these guys, because some of them have some pretty darn good weapons. Like this guy had a missile launcher, which I have not acquired yet. So I attacked him first, and he did get a missile fired at me. A couple of missiles he reloaded insanely fast, but thankfully none of those missiles hit me. Now at this point there was just so much shit going on. We were on a full-on battle for Fort Bannister. I picked up the missile launcher because there were so many enemies, and it actually proved to be a very good decision, especially here with this hit in VATS, where the missile hit a direct hit into this merc, and using the missile launcher we were able to relatively easily clear out the area of the Talon Company Mercs. So before coming here, I'd highly recommend stocking up on some ammunition and healing items. That is something I did before going to this location, knowing I would have a pretty significant fight ahead of me. This is one of the big tests for me in Fallout 3. So far, I've actually kind of struggled in Fallout 3 as far as combat. I'm not nearly as familiar with the game as, say, Fallout New Vegas or Skyrim, so this has proven to be a much bigger challenge for me than either of those two games. However, I feel pretty confident with Fallout 3 after this engagement with the Talon Company. Now, I killed off the stragglers that are found around the base, and as you fight your way around the base, you'll notice that this base, Fort Bannister, is in really bad condition. While Fort Bannister is not a real location in real life, we can assume it was a major base for the US government in its war against China. So during the Great War, the Chinese probably had a significant target on this military installation. Now, as you make your way around Fort Bannister, make sure to loot everything, especially the ammunition boxes and the Talon Company Mercs, because they'll have some really good weapons and loot on them. I used a lot of the weapons I found, such as Chinese assault rifles, flamers, sniper rifles, missile launchers to repair my weapons and to have higher quality weapons. Now, towards the northern section of Fort Bannister, you're going to find a tent in the middle of this destroyed building. There will be a lone merc inside of the tent, and for me, he had a missile launcher. Me and Dogmeat killed him and then took his supplies or his weapons. And inside there's going to be a drainage pipe. And this will take us to the commanding officer's quarters, kind of a secret entrance. If you saw earlier, the Fort Bannister bunker is actually locked with a very hard lock, so unless you have a 100 lockpick, you cannot access it. The only way to access it is going through this route, which is not locked, and we can go from behind. And I should say this was a secret entrance maybe in the pre-war era, since it seems to be hidden at the bottom of this building. However, for the Talon Company, it seems to be their main entrance into this facility. There are so many mercs inside this part of the bunker, so be prepared for a significant fight. Having Dogmeat with me was a big help, along with using the laser rifle. I was able to actually take out a lot of the mercs and the turrets relatively easily. But again, having a companion with me, such as Dogmeat, was a significant help as he drew away the fire of many of the NPCs. As you loot through this kind of missile silo, you're going to drop down on top of this final kind of enclosed area, and you can find a copy of Nikola Tesla and You, along with an ammunition crate that will have random loot inside of it. As we push further into the bunker, eventually you'll come up on their like sleeping or living quarters. There are several bunk beds inside of this room, along with several mercs. But for me and Dogmeat, and the combat shotgun was super useful at close range, we were able to make somewhat quick work of the mercs. That one merc there just died a very terrible death. Now, inside of these living quarters, I couldn't really find any significant loot, but it's worth looking for any kind of ammunition crates and stuff like that. As I pushed further back into the bunker, I found what I believe to be some kind of infirmary, and it is guarded by this merc with a flamethrower. Definitely take his flamer to repair your current flamer, or if you don't have one. And something nefarious was probably going on in this room, because we have 2 dead wastelanders, but there's no rhyme or reason why they're dead, but perhaps the Talon Company was experimenting on them. But besides that, there was nothing else I could find on this level of the bunker, so using the staircase, we can dive deeper into the bunker, and you'll eventually enter in this kind of central chamber, which appears to be some kind of water purification plant. I found this room to be kind of challenging because you had several mercs on this central platform, along with a turret above them. But using the missile launcher, we were able to take out a lot of their health, and Dogmeat cleaned up the scraps. That explosion destroyed the auto turret, which was a big help, and Dogmeat then cleaned up. Now, the water in this room is radioactive, and there are radiation signs around it, which makes me wonder if it's powering or cooling down, some kind of nuclear reactor, or something like that to help power this bunker. But probably not for drinking, since it is irradiated. As we move deeper into the bunker, we come up on some kind of mess hall, where obviously the Talon Company and former US soldiers would have eaten. We can make our way further, and we kind of come to this 4-way intersection. There is a hard locked door here and an average lock terminal. Bypassing the terminal security, and we can disengage the lock. Now, this room is actually optional. I got attacked from behind while I unlocked it. But inside of this room, you're actually going to find a lot of good loot. I found a lot of stim packs and a lot of useful ammunition. But be careful in this part, because Talon Company Mercs might come from behind you. Now, across from this locked door is kind of the central command center for this bunker, or now probably being used by the Talon Company. But here is me looting the room. Again, first aid boxes and some ammunition crates. There was even some like recon armor and stuff in here that, hey, you might find useful. But I'm using power armor, so I wasn't all that interested. Again, across the way, we can enter the central command area of this bunker. There is a locked terminal, which we can use to turn the turrets against the Talon Company, and I would recommend doing this if you can, because the leader of the Mercs, of the Talon Company Mercs at Fort Bannister, is found within this room. His name is Commander Japsko, and Japsko is pretty tough. He has a lot of health. As you can see there, he took a hit from a missile launcher, and he really didn't give a shit, so he's going to take a lot of hits for me. It took several hits from the missile launcher, several hits from Dogmeat, and several hits from the laser rifle to kill him. As you can see there, he is equipped with a missile launcher himself, and he got a hit on me, which significantly reduced my health. Lucky I didn't die there. But at close range, he'll pull out a combat knife, and he is a lot less threatening at close range. Upon killing Japsko, definitely make sure to loot his body, because he has some unique items on him. First, we have a unique combat knife called Occam's Razor, and also a unique combat helmet called the Talon Combat Helmet. Now, as we make our way into this main headquarters, there's one more turret, which we have to destroy, and there's not a whole lot in this command center. However, behind a locked footlocker, there is a Nuka-Cola Quantum, so definitely pick that up. And in the footlocker, you can find some good loot, and we can unlock it using Japsko's key. After that, we can go on to the next section of the bunker, and this is the main bunker of Fort Bannister, the one that was before, behind a very hard lock. But there's just going to be a few mercs in here, some stragglers that you'll have to kill off. Not too difficult, especially with the combat shotgun. Man, we really messed him up. And just how Dogmeat went crazy there. I was going to say, this guy had a missile launcher at close range, but pretty easy to kill off these guys with close range weapons and Dogmeat. Now, there is one item of note inside of here. Eventually, you're going to find this kind of storage room, and there's going to be a gun cabinet. It took me a little bit to figure this out, but on top of the gun cabinet, there is a copy of Guns and Bullets. So definitely make sure to pick that up. A good skill magazine, always worth having. But after that, we can leave the bunker using Japska's key, and we're back outside, back where we started. Now, there is still one more area at Fort Bannister for us to clear out, and that is Fort Bannister, Maine. It is locked behind a very easy lock, which makes it pretty easy, and like before, you're going to find several Talon Company Mercs inside. Now, I actually found this battle to be pretty difficult because you can be shot from several angles, from above, from behind, so I found it best to rush into this hallway for some cover, kill the lone Talon Company Merc inside of this hallway, and then you have some cover in order to clear out the rest of the building. Inside that hallway is nothing besides another entrance to Fort Bannister, Maine. But with no desire to leave this facility yet, I made my way upstairs, killing more Talon Company Mercs, and you'll definitely want to go upstairs because we can actually find some pretty decent loot inside of the upper floors. So kill the Mercs and make your way to the top, and we'll find a kind of command center for what we can assume was the old command center here at Fort Bannister. You can go left or right here. I recommend going right first and then going left. But if we go right, we can find the command center that I was talking about. And there's going to be a few wall safes in here. And they all contain kind of same loot. Just some bottle caps and some pre-war money. But definitely make sure to unlock them. But besides that, not a whole lot in here. Heading back and going left, we can find another staircase, along with an average locked door at the bottom of the staircase. Inside we can find a fat man and a big book of science. Now, according to the wiki, there is a mini nuke in here. However, I looked for about a minute or so, and I tried looking it up online, and I could not find a mini nuke. So if anyone knows where the mini nuke is, or perhaps it just glitched out for me, please let me know in the comments section below. But there's also some ammunition boxes, so we can take some ammunition. But no mini nuke as far as I'm concerned. But perhaps I'm just blind. Perhaps it was in the video and I'm just an idiot. Either way, we can then make our way back outside, and we have successfully cleared Fort Bannister. I had a ton of fun playing through this location. It felt like a real kind of military engagement, and with Dogmeat at my side, it was really enjoyable. On top of this mountain, we have like 3 antennas, probably used in the pre-war era to communicate or send messages or whatever. Also, I wanted to mention that south of Fort Bannister, just across the street, there is a large radioactive crater. Now, there's no indication about where the nukes fell in Washington, D.C., in the Capital Wasteland. We just know hundreds of them fell, but we can assume Fort Bannister would have been a major target for the Chinese, as I mentioned earlier, and this crater offers some evidence that an atomic bomb did in fact detonate very close to Fort Bannister, which would explain the extremely sorry state that it is currently in. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Unexplored Capital Wasteland. I had a lot of fun checking out this location, fighting through this location, and making this video. If you guys have any recommendations for a future location in Fallout 3, please post it in the comment section below. And as always, until next time.